Hey guys, Roshi is here. This is going to be a Throne new player guide. So we're taking the grenadine list from my previous guides, and we're going to be just firing it into the Throne ladder, just full send, skipping over Expedition and skipping over the first draft quest. You're going to want to go back and do that draft, and in the future I will make a guide on how to do that. But for now, we're gonna hop into the ladder. This is my preferred way to start, just for me, especially in new card games. I like to just dive right in and start learning the cards and the interactions and what the meta is. So in this video, you'll see me just taking the deck, talking about it, and just full sending it into the Throne ladder. And yeah, hopefully this gives you some ideas that maybe the ladder isn't so scary and you can just queue up for ranked anytime. It's no big deal. Enjoy. If you checked into part 1 of the guide, we used this deck right here, just super budget grenadine, and we were able to take down our first gauntlet. And then we got a quest to hop into our first forge, and from there, we kind of have two diverging or parallel paths, depending on how you want to play the game. The next quest it gave us is it wants us to play a draft. So we can try and looks like we've got play a draft, play a game of Expedition, or raise the Stone Scar banner, win 5 gauntlet games with a Fire Shadow deck. So we've got options here, and we can kind of play this game how we want to play it at this point. So I could hop into Versus, and I could pop into a draft, except I'm kind of broke, so I can't do that right now. So we're not going to do that yet. I could hop into Expedition and play this, but none of my decks are legal. So we could play this Precon deck, but I don't want to do that either. So what we're actually going to do is I'm going to show you the deck here. There's 2 different options. This is the cheaper option. So from the previous deck, what we're going to do is we're going to craft 4 Cool Scroungers. You should have the dust for this at this point. Disenchant some stuff. If it's something you don't want to play with, just get rid of it. Don't worry about it. For now, our goal is to just get our first deck together. After the Gauntlet and the Forge, you should have some material you're working with. And if you don't want to disenchant anything, don't worry about it. Find a way to get packs, maybe do some more Gauntlets, do some more Forges. That'll give you some more Shiftstone just from opening packs. And once you get, it's 800 or rare, we'll have this deck. And you can also just use the base version of the deck, no pressure. But this is what I would do if you wanted to have a little bit of a better time on the ladder. So this is the next step up. All we did here, we cut a few relic weapons and we trimmed a few relentless pursuits and added 4 Cool Scroungers. So this is option B. Option B, I'd say. Option A is to just take the original deck and run it. And option C is, here's another version. And this one's a little more complicated. We have a market now. And what the market lets us do is we use fire etchings. And if we've got 4 fire, we can exhaust this and swap one of our cards in our hand with a card from our market. So this lets us have a nice little toolbox of utility in our market that maybe can help us get wins in different scenarios. And at the same time, Fire Etchings is a pretty solid card all around for a mono-colored deck. There's an Etchings in each faction, but this is ours. And just drawing a Fire Sigil makes sure that maybe we don't get mana screwed. And later on, if we've got 4 fire, we can use this to swap out for something of more value. So Flash Fire is just an obvious include here. This is going to do a ton of damage to our opponent. We've got the Battle Driver. This will... It's pretty easy for our opponents to kill, but you can kind of play it and exhaust it immediately if you've got 6 power. And if we've got a lot of units on the board, we can really buff the crap out of one of them and hopefully knock our opponent into the Shadow Realm. And then Grenarender, pay 1 and sack to kill an attachment. There's other attachment options. Pick your poison here. This is a grenadine though, and it kind of synergizes a bit with our disassemblers, and that's why we ended up here. But you know, just decide what you want. Edict of Shavka, good way to just kill primal and justice units, and anything tricky with Aegis can be popped with this. And then ankle cutter. There's some big scary units with endurance and lifesteal out there, and this can be our way to get around it. Some other interesting changes here. We're playing Shugo standard instead of a few fire sigils. And we have granite coin, which is always depleted, but if we've attacked, we can deal 1 damage. And this can be really huge for clearing out. Sometimes our opponent will opt not to block or something, or they will block, and we can use this to kind of trade up or clear out an X1 or whatever. So that's kind of the major changes. We're also playing Coal Scrounger here, and we're just going to hop into the ladder. It's interesting to me, one thing to note, back in the day, back when I played, Explorer didn't exist. So you used to just dive straight into Throne after the intro, but it seems that changed, and they're trying to funnel people into Expedition. You can certainly do that, and this pre-con deck they gave actually looks pretty solid, and you could win some games with it. But we're just going to hop straight into Throne and see if we can't get some wins. See what happens. And this should help us get enough coin to play in our first draft if we so choose. Or, you know, maybe play some more gauntlets or more thrones. Forages. Dive into Expedition. You're kind of open to start grinding the game however you want to grind it at this point. There's theme decks you can buy, and you can buy them with in-game currency. And a lot of them are pretty good value. Or you can actually, what you can do is if you're willing to spend money, you can buy them with in-game currency and then buy them again if you buy like a bundle or something, and use that to, you can get each pre-con twice that way, which is pretty neat. So we're going to redraw this hand. We don't have a 1-drop. And this hand isn't much better, but I don't want to mulligan to 6, and we do have a few 2-drops, so we'll keep this. Alright, and just like that, we've proven the power of our deck. Knocking out achievements here. Now's a good time as any to talk about achievements. There's a lot of like hidden achievements and like secret things you can do. Like a lot of them are based around just like cool interactions and stuff. And they're gonna give you free dust. So you're gonna get free gold, free stuff, and it's a pretty free way to do it. I can show you those real quick here. So we click Profile and click Achievements, and you can actually see all the different achievements. I'm not going to dump into this. Feel free to check these out and go after any of these if you want to. I recommend doing them in Gauntlet if you're going to try. But for the sake of being a super new account, we could just kind of ignore them for now. You might have noticed that there's a puzzle mode, and we access that down here. And it just goes through some different challenges you can do, and you get some cool rewards for doing it. If you're extremely new to the game, this would be a fast way to pick up on some mechanics if you haven't played any card games before. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to keep playing Throne. And in a future guide, maybe we can run through some of the puzzles. Alright, so once again, we're looking for 1-drops and we're not seeing them. This hand's pretty good though, but I'm still gonna redraw. Oftentimes your second hand will end up being better. And like I said, we lucked out here, so we got a pretty solid second hand. Grenadine Drone's one of the best cards we can play on turn 1, so we're going to do that. We got matched up against the same guy. That's kind of cool. And, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and attack here first. We get some damage in, and now we can actually use our onslaught abilities. So, we'll go ahead and do that. We could potentially save this granite coin for some other thing, but it is a depleted power, and we don't have anything else going on, so we'll just send that 1 damage straight to their face.
I bear a message.
Okay, so they played a blocker that we definitely don't want them to have. Life gain's annoying for us, so we're going to torch the blocker. We'll play our power here. And here's one of the exceptions to our rule from Guide 3. Coal Scrounger buffs some of our units. So we're going to play him pre-combat instead of in our second main phase to just get some extra damage. And we'll end the turn here. And like that, our opponent's already down 10 life, and we've got a really commanding board. And this is all for like a super ultra budget deck. I mean, I think it's maybe 4k dust, 5k dust total. So, you could easily play this deck and get all the way up to gold with it, and maybe even further if you've got the time. I actually tested this deck out on my main account, and I was in gold, and I was able to rank up with it. So, we're gonna go ahead and not attack with the Coal Scrounger here, because it's our best unit, and it only attacks for 1 anyway. So we'll attack with everything else, and keep our buffer alive. And then here we'll play, just dump our hand. And in Guide 2, I kind of mentioned the value of sandbagging sigils in your hand. We have no reason to play this sigil right now, so we're not going to. And we'll just hang on to it, and maybe our opponent will think it's something else, even though it's just a sigil. And if we need to play it, we can, and we can also use it to transfer it with something in your market, or if you're playing Plunder, you could use it for that. So, looks like we have a lethal attack here, so we're just going to hit A. And our opponent's dead regardless, so we pick up our first actual win with this deck. I think that's a good example of the power inside, the power of the Grenadine. But yeah, it's a fun list. Your opponents might not be having fun, but maybe you'll have fun. And yeah, we'll just even as a new player, we can still hop into Throne and compete without too much trouble here. And you can actually get pretty far with decks like this. It might get a little stale after a while, but it'll work. It surely gets the job done. So, once again, no 1-drops. We're going to redraw. And I could mulligan here. This hand is super slow, but I think we're going to keep it. We have some good gas here, some good options, and we might be able to take over. We also could get lucky. Since we're on the draw, we're going to draw more cards. So it's actually okay to keep a somewhat slower hand on the draw. And that's what we're going to do. Since I don't have anything else to do, Shugo Standard's kind of way better later on. So I'm just going to play this now, get it out of my hand. And that way, I don't run the risk of having any depleted power later on. So we're just going to torch his guy. And end the turn here. And so we have 2 options here. In general, this is going to give us more guys and deal more damage in the long run. So we'll do that first. Our opponent is unluckily not drawing anything, so we're going to attack here. Our goal is to dump as much crap on the board as we can. So for the sake of doing that, we're going to play Assembly Line. And we'll hold off on this granite coin, and we were gonna actually go for the waystone and try and set up a big rally. But our opponent got screwed on power, so we were able to take down the win there. And with that, we'll just keep cruising. Each time we get a win, we're getting these chests, we're getting cards, we're getting swag, we're getting clout, we're getting power. We're taking the energy and just flying forward into the face of danger. Don't fear the ladder. Own the ladder. That's my positive vibes for all of you watching. Sending the big energy your way. I mean, it's not that winning gets stale. It's just if you're playing the same deck over and over again, and then maybe you go on like a bit of a losing streak, which can happen. You know, maybe you're just like, all right, I don't want to play this anymore, and then you switch decks. So one of the cool things about Eternal is there's so many different styles of decks, so many different ways to play. Sometimes you might get tired of just playing. I mean, our happy little boys try their best. You know, we got these smiley grenadine. Like, look at that smile. He's so happy. They're so happy. But sometimes, you know, grenadines need a break. So we have no minions in this hand. We're going to redraw. Yes. So here's the interesting choice. We can choose to go down to 6. And instead of keeping our 7-card hand. And our deck really wants to have some aggression flowing early. So we don't mind losing a card if it means having a more aggressive hand. Now, in this case, it backfired. We have absolutely nothing going on until turn 3. But, you know, shoot your shot. Echo, I'm not liking your sass. But anyway, we'll keep going. So, drew a 2-drop right off the top of our deck. Looks like we were playing against an Archmagister's Portal deck. This deck's super sweet, by the way. What they do is, when you play a unit that doesn't share a unit name with any of your other types in your deck, hand, or void, it gets buffed. So this deck's super cool. I actually have a video of me playing this, and it could actually be budget friendly since it's uncommon. So maybe when we get absolutely wrecked by this guy, feel free to look into an Archmagister's Portal deck. They're pretty easy to build, and they're super fun to play. But we just play our happy little boys and attack. Look how happy they are. Look at that smile. He might be a little grumpy, though. Is Portal a campaign card? Okay, so campaign cards are, you have to like purchase a quest and play through it. It's something I recommend you do eventually, but definitely pick and choose based on which cards you want. So in this scenario, they've kind of stymied our attempts to attack, so we're going to use Torch to clear this guy. And we're going to attack with our other homies. And this guy's going to die. He's taken one for the team. But now we're going to use Seer to finish off this guy. And we're hoping to get as much damage as we can in before they kind of stabilize the board. This seems like a deck that might play some really big minions, so it might be really hard for us to win combat. So what we want to do is get as much damage in as we can before we get uber-pwned. Looking like, though, we'll probably have to stop attacking this next turn. We'll probably take a turn to play assembly line, and then hopefully we can get a good fire conjuring off. Conjuring. I keep saying conjuring. Is it conjuring or conjuring? I don't know. Don't know. Our opponent's slamming legends in our face here. Never be intimidated by the legends, though. Our happy little boys can get the job done. Alright, cool. So, since he attacked there, that opens us up with the opportunity to fire off a big boy attack this turn. I think we're still going to hold our disassembler back, and we're not going to decimate here, but we are going to get a ton of damage in. So he's going to block 1, and that's going to deal 1 damage to him. And then we're going to fire conjuring. And it's going to deal 3, 6, 9, 12, plus the 1. That drops our opponent to 7. And then hopefully next turn we can get lethal, or maybe get there with these tickings. So let's go for that. Yeah, and as Echo's saying, if you can see chat over there, the campaigns are kind of expensive, but you can spend gold on them and save up for them, and you're gonna get a bunch of really fun PvE content. You get to play against these, you get to see the lore of the game, like find out what's going on, find out why all the characters hate each other, basically. And yeah, our opponent's just dead now, but it's a cool way to like experience the game and get a lot of really cool cards. So you'll get a bunch of playsets of stuff from buying these campaigns. So, and you don't have to play them in order either. You can go and look and be like, okay, like which campaign do I want? And if you're struggling to like find decks to beat the campaign, you can feel free to hop into my Discord or anyone's Discord, and a lot of us could help you round out your decks so that you can hopefully bag that win against the bots and clear the campaigns. And some cards do better than others against the bots, and I'll make a separate guide on how to really dunk on the bots, preferably on a budget for newer players. So we're actually just going to swing out here. I'm pretty sure our opponent's dead regardless of what they do, thanks to our fire conjuring. And one of the things they could have did, if they had just held their guys back as blockers, we might not have had enough damage there to fight and like really win that game. Now, we definitely did have enough, but they didn't know that, so it would have been a much different game had they actually blocked. And sometimes people really underestimate the power of the happy little boys, and I'm here to show you that the happy little boys pack a freaking punch. You just gonna steamroll. Grenadines are made of steam, by the way, and steam and steel. You just steamroll your opponents, quite literally. And it's a good time. A good old time. Yep, I'm trying to make all these guides and separate, but still relevant. Like, you know, like there's a sequential order to how you can start the game and how you can play. So I want people to be able to pick and piece where to start at. I'm gonna keep this hand. Lots of 1-drops. Alright, so Grenadine Drone's one of the best cards we can play on turn 1, so we're going to do that.
It's written right here.
So one interesting thing we can talk about is every month your rank gets reset down to a certain point based on how you did the previous month. But one of the cool things is that they give you scaling rewards based on which rank you made it to. So, you know, if you don't have a ton of time to play and whatever, it's not a big deal, and that's fine. But you can get some really cool rewards if you, like let's say we're bronze, and we're able to make it to silver before the end of the month. That's a lot of rewards that we get for that, and it's pretty sweet. So, keep that in mind that there's you know, some nice little rewards you can cash in on and make some bank and get some free stuff every month. So there's a motivation to, I guess it's what we call a gameplay loop. So, you know, every month you play the game, you try and grind, you try and push for rank, and then at the end of the month you get rewards, and then you take those rewards and you try and put them towards your decks, and then maybe you make it a little further the next month, and so on and so forth, until you're better than me. It'll probably take you like 2 months to be better than me, so. I'm kidding. Maybe 1 month. So, look forward to that. Alright, so they played a real thick boy. And the only way we can deal with this is by them blocking and us hitting it with Torch. So that's what we're going for. Called the No Fear attack, boys. And we will go ahead and fire off this torch. Welcome to my torture chamber. Things are getting heated. We're burning it up. Unfortunately, though, we're missing power drops, so we're, we're missing power drops here, which isn't great. Alright, fire etchings is good. That gets us going. Being better than me is not challenging for sure. Alright, end turn. So, we're just hanging out. We've kind of lost control of the board. Big, beefy units like Sandstorm Titan, that is this guy. Just a 5/6 with endurance. It's really hard for us to punch through. So for now, we're just going to try and make our board stretch out and try and go wide a little bit. And then hopefully from there, we can find a way to cheese out a win. Maybe our opponent messes up. Maybe we're able to get enough guys on the board and get a big attack in. So that's what we're going to go for here. So we're going to play assembly line. Make 3 of our goodest boys. And maybe we'll play another one, we'll see. But we're just trying to get on board here and get some damage in. Kind of hanging out. Opponents taking their time, thinking things through. It's okay.
I bring you aid.
Looks like we're playing against a lot of legends, but like we saw before, don't be discouraged. You can still win games. We might not win this one, but we still have a really good shot of winning this, and we'll keep grinding it out. So we've fully dumped our hand at this point. We're kind of all in. If they play a board wipe against us, we're kind of screwed. But we're hoping they don't, and we're going to try and just get a real big attack off, and hopefully we can get some burn spells and finish out the game here. But a part of playing this aggro deck is it doesn't always work out. It's not all just free wins, so... right now, though, if they just actually just end their turn, we're representing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 damage. It looks like we're actually going to get wrecked. This card's really bad for us. Not a lot we can do about it. We'll just take this hit. That card's really bad for us. And Fire Sigil is not helping. So we're going to go ahead and concede this. And try and find someone playing maybe some different cards. And it ranked us into Bronze 3, so that's cool. We'll keep playing. Yeah, do some Gauntlet. That's a good way to like learn the game. I know this is only Guide 3 and we're on like Hour 3, but you don't have to jump straight into Throne. I just thought it was a cool way to show that like you don't have to be scared of the ladder. There's plenty of really budget decks that can win games. And you can have a good time and screw around. And if you want to just stick with Gauntlet and Forge and Draft, you can do that as well. But I just wanted to show that you don't have to stay in that space. You can hop in and play against real people, and it can be a good time. Alright, so we have a 1-drop here, but we're not able to play our 2-drops on 2. So that's going to prompt me to redraw this. And this hand does have 1-drops, and we can... This is a really good hand, actually. Lots of gas. So we're going to lead off with Grenadine Drone. This is one of the best cards we can start with. It helps us turn on our onslaughts. It makes 2 bodies for disassembler. It's just pretty good. So I'm going to attack here. We'll see what our opponent does. Nothing. So this is going to actually represent more damage. So we're going to play the double Oni patrols here. And now if every burn spell we play is going to just be that much more damage we're hitting our opponent with every turn. So they opted to play nothing here. We're going to play our power and attack. See what they want to do. Looks like they don't really have anything going on, so we're going to play our volatile Grenadine. And the reason I played this first is they don't seem to be playing any minions yet, and I don't want to... They might play a minion here soon, and we might have to make like a suicide attack, and Disassembler is just like a really strong unit we want to keep around as long as possible. Yeah. And as Echolocations pointed out, there's a deck called Rakano, and that used to be kind of our go-to recommendation for starting, but I honestly haven't seen it as much recently, and I'm not sure how strong it still is. So I wanted to show an alternate option that can just be super cheap and get you some good wins, and just a cool way to get your feet wet, so to speak. Find out what gameplay you like. Alright, so we're going to play our Disassembler here and just attack our opponent. And they didn't play anything, so Torch is lethal, and we'll take that win. just like that, we're ranking up here. If we get one more win, we'll actually we'll be bronze too. It's pretty sweet. Ranking up our fire level. So you can rank each faction all the way up to 100, and it gives you cool little rewards as you go along the way. Like I just got a pack there. Yeah, as Echolocations pointed out, this is red deck wins. But I would actually compare this more to, if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering lingo, we're playing more like a goblin deck than a red deck wins deck. We have a 1-drop, we have a 2-drop, and we've got burn. We're going to keep this.
We fight to survive.
Alright, so they've got life gain off the bat. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Let's play our grenadine. And this ticking grenadine might encourage them to not attack. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and attack with my grenadine here. I'm looking to onslaught Oni Patrol. And we're going to actually clear this guy out of the way, because life gain is super scary. Okay, our guy's getting stunned here. So I'm going to play Disassembler and a ticking grenadine here. And we'll just end our turn. No need to just attack and have him die. We can wait until maybe guarantee some damage from combat before we waste him. Taking some damage here. Alright, so we actually drew a good removal spell here. So I have a few options. If I play this power, I'll actually have enough to exhaust a guy and go into our market. So we have to decide if that's something we want to do this turn or not. I don't think it is. So here's what we're going to do instead. I'm going to torch this guy. And we get our unit back. And now we get to attack our opponent here. And get some really nice damage. And I'm going to just play this Shugo standard and pass the turn. And maybe next turn we can exhaust something and dip into our market if we want to. Alright, so our guy got turned into a frog there, but frogs still attack 4 damage. And we are going to do that. And then we'll go ahead and play our guy. And then here's how this works. We exhaust our guy, so we scroll over and target him. And this is going to give us a fire sigil from our deck and let us swap this for any card we want from our market. So I have to decide what I want here, and I think Oni Battle Driver is the way to go. Just will represent a lot of damage. They have Aegis, so I can't flash fire them. So we're going to go for Battle Driver here. The other option, actually, Edict of Shavka could kill a unit they play and help us get through. So between the two of these, both are pretty solid. I think we're going to do Oni Battle of Driver, but either option is respectable and good. So just keep in mind there's always multiple paths to the goal of just, you know, winning. And so I'm going to swing out here, but I'm going to hold... actually, we're going to swing with everything. So losing our Disassembler sucks, but we're going to actually get more damage in by losing our Disassembler, so it's okay. And it looks like they opted to let us keep our Disassembler, so there goes their Aegis, and I'm gonna just sandbag the Sigil, and next turn we'll be able to make one of our guys really massive and have Overwhelm. And it looks like that was enough to do it. So, just like that, we were able to make it into Bronze 2. Our deck combined total was about, you know, looking at our deck, it cost us about 5k, 4k dust to craft. And we're able to slap pretty hard. I was able to play a similar deck at Gold 3 and take it to Gold 2. So the deck works at most stages of the ladder. You might slow down a bit once you start getting into Gold or Diamond, but you can hop straight into Throne. Like, you don't have to go to Expedition. You don't have to go to Draft. You don't have to stick in Gauntlet and like play against the bots if you don't want to. Now, if you want to, do that. Just spend your time how you want. I wanted to showcase one of the ways you can play this game after you finish your first Gauntlet and your first Forge. So that is the end of part. Thank you for watching this Throne video. If you want to get more tips like this, feel free to follow me live. I'm always happy to show budget versions or give budget options for the deck I have. I try and do that. And that can be a good way to get you started if perhaps this grenadine list isn't your style. We can definitely make something happen. Hop in the Discord if you want other tips. I'm always happy to brew up budget decks for people to play and hopefully have a good time on the ladder. In the future, I'll be making draft content, at least one or two, just to show how to do it and some basic tips. I am by no means a draft master, but I'm good enough that I can get you guys started and hopefully get let you have a good experience for your first draft. So look forward to that content in the future, and thank